A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Green.
Welcome into the Sportsocracy, Tank Spencer and Jeremy Green. A Wednesday morning, the morning after the college football playoff rankings came out. And Jeremy is just as mad about them today as he was the first day they came out.
They're so stupid.
They just can't please you in any way, can they?
They could. Just stop being dumb. It's not that hard to please me. Just stop doing things that don't make any sense.
We'll talk about that and all of the championship games coming up this weekend, the most impactful championship games of the weekend in college football, NFL action as well. We got some COVID updates in the NFL to get to right here in the Sportsocracy. Follow, like, and share the Sportsocracy on all of the social medias. And, of course, we are live, as always, in the Wicked Weed Studios here in wonderful Woodfin, North Carolina. WickedWeedBrewing.com. Drink different. So college football playoff rankings came out last night, and not much has changed. Alabama still at the top, Notre Dame at 2, Clemson at 3, and Ohio State is at 4. That is our 4 playoff teams. I don't really see much chance of us not having those 4 teams in the college football playoff.
I mean, there's a path.
Now let's go Northwestern. Let's go Wildcats. Because I think that's the only one that changes.
Purple power. Let's go.
I'll be honest with you. I think that's the only one that changes.
Alabama makes it no matter what. I mean, they can lose to Florida by 30. They're still making it. And that's not going to happen. But, yeah, I think Alabama's in no matter what. I think Notre Dame's in no matter what. Clemson has to win.
Yep.
And I think they will. And Ohio State's in if they win.
Mm-hmm. Clemson beating Notre Dame will jump them up to number 2. Notre Dame losing to Clemson will probably drop them down to 3. And there you have it. They have split up Notre Dame and Clemson. We will not get a third game between those two teams. I don't know. I mean, I've always thought that this is how this was going to go. They're going to protect against that. And you're going to get Alabama against Notre Dame and Clemson versus Ohio State.
I disagree with you, but we'll see when it comes out. I don't see any way Ohio State's not 4. I don't see a path to it. Because they're not going to have a win that touches anybody in front of them. Alabama's beaten Florida. Alabama's beaten Georgia. Or Alabama will have beaten Florida. Alabama will have beaten Georgia. And so they're 1. Notre Dame will have beaten Clemson. Clemson will beat Notre Dame. I don't see how you can have a team. Their best wins Northwestern ahead of that. And they played 5 less games. I cannot wrap my head around how you would put that in front of any of these teams.
I don't either, and I think it's all just based on matchup. They're just not.
And I keep telling you, they scream from the rooftops. They don't look at the matchups.
They keep trying to say that, but I'm trying to think.
You want it to be this way, so you keep saying this.
No, I heard, who was it the other day that was talking about this, and I can't remember who it was. It was a broadcaster that was talking about this and said, this is how this is going to go down. And I thought, of course it is. Of course it is. They want, especially if it's not a good game. Like if the ACC championship's not a good game and Clemson wins by a lot, they're not going to give us that game third time in a row or third time in the season.
I disagree, but we'll find out in a week. Hopefully Ohio State will lose and we'll never know the answer to that anyway.
Oh, thank you. Good Lord.
Let's go purple.
Good Lord. Come on, Northwestern. We've never pulled so hard for Northwestern athletics.
I've never pulled for Northwestern, period. So this is going to be a first for me.
You weren't even pulling for them when they were when the basketball team was about to get into the tournament a couple of years ago. Come on.
No, because I don't care.
That was a great story.
Because I don't care.
That's a great story.
Oh, look at Chris Collins. He's a 12 seed at Northwestern. Okay, he's going to get bounced in a opening 4 game. I don't care.
No, man. You gotta love stories like that about teams that have just never been able to get over that hump, and then finally, they erase years of futility to get into a tournament or whatever.
I don't have to do anything but pay taxes and die.
You don't have
I don't care about anything except the elite teams in any of this. And no, I didn't. To be honest with you, I forgot about that. The only thing I even remember about that Northwestern team is that little kid with braces aggressively, like, pooped your pants on the playground crying. That is all I remember of that team.
That's all you care about.
We do have the purple background in honor of.
Yes, our background will be purple all week in honor of Northwestern.
That's right.
Because we are with you.
Go Big Purple. Ohio State is the 4 right now, and then you've got Texas A&M, Iowa State, Florida, Georgia, Cincinnati, and Oklahoma. Those are your top 10. And what? I mean, the chances of any of those teams jumping into this top 4 are
It's
remote
not.
in the first
That's
place.
not the point. I am fully well aware that there are 5 teams that have a path to getting in this playoff.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that Florida can lose to LSU at home for their second loss and still be ahead of Cincinnati is stupid to me. It's stupid. It is stupid. What you do on the field doesn't matter. The only thing that matters in this is what we think about you.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Nothing else matters.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish they would just come out and say that. The fact Iowa State is 6 is stupid because they're going to get shellacked by the Oklahoma Sooners on Saturday. That's do you or do you not disagree with what I just said?
I do not disagree.
So
with that.
Iowa State's up here on resume alone because I would wager anybody that's watched college football for more than, about 13 seconds realizes Oklahoma's better than Iowa State. So you put Iowa State up there on resume, but you put Ohio State at 4 because you think they're better? They've done nothing to prove that. Right. Absolutely nothing. Right. It's just inconsistent, and it's maddening. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm 100% ready to go back to the computers. Screw it. Let's do the BCS again. It's fine.
Do you think you would have that much of a difference, though, in the rankings if you had the computers?
In the computers, yes, because 2 lost teams got throttled by the BCS. Mm-hmm. When you lost games, you got crushed. So, yeah, I do think that would be – I think there would be a difference. I think the rankings right now would be different. And I want them to be.
I think the computers would also take into account the 5 wins of Ohio State. They're not going to be impressed with anything that they do.
No!
And they wouldn't be in the top 4. I'm fully convinced of that.
You didn't beat anybody, and you didn't play anybody. So, I mean, what is there to be impressed about? It takes out that, we think they're good. Okay, well, you'll think they're real good when Alabama beats them by, about 60. Because that's what would happen. I firmly believe that. The Ohio State's the team that I've seen, I've watched 3 full games of, would get tortured by Alabama.
Mm-hmm. Their defense is not good, and Devontae Smith might set some kind of record against that secondary.
Well, it's Sean Wade up against him, and Sean Wade has been he's had some rough days, we'll put it that way.
Yep. Is that because he had the coronavirus? Or
I will hit you. Listen, Max Kellerman. He had the Rona, and it sapped his talent. Now he's a hack that can't defend anybody. Just like Cam Newton.
That's right. That's right.
I guess Cam Newton got the coronavirus 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's apparently what happens. No, but if we had the computers, do you think Cincinnati would be 6?
I think Cincinnati would be 5.
Really?
I do.
So Texas A&M would be 4. You're not putting them ahead of Texas A&M, are you?
Yeah, probably with 1 loss. The computers hated losses. I mean, how many
but
times
those
have we
losses
talked about?
Also matter. I mean, like your
There's a strength of loss
also
in there.
mattered.
There's a strength of loss in there that wouldn't be taken into account.
Right. I mean, Texas A&M lost to Alabama.
They didn't lose to Alabama. They got demolished by Alabama. They got beat to death by Alabama.
Well, everybody except for Ole Miss has been beat to death by Alabama, it seems like.
Yeah, and they didn't mean to. They just scored a lot of points.
Right. But that's kind of my point, though, is that matters a lot. And your 8-win Cincinnati team is not scratching that top 5 over Texas A&M. They've only lost to the number 1 team in the country.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Okay. In the BCS era.
Because Florida would have gotten hammered, just so you know. Florida would have been at 15 in the BCS. You have 2 losses, you would have gotten demolished. And if you take that Florida win and make it, 15th, put them at 15. Your best win is Florida, who would have been at 15. Your second best win is against Auburn. And then it goes into South Carolina, Mississippi State, Arkansas, Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Cincinnati would be ahead of Texas A&M. If it was the computers, I hadn't even looked at it that closely before I said it. Yeah, they would be ahead of them.
I was thinking, though, in the BCS era, how high did Boise State ever climb?
Boise State never played a schedule that looked like Cincinnati's. Cincinnati they will have a win over Tulsa, who's in this poll. They have a win over Central Florida that the polls would like because they haven't lost many games. Houston, Memphis, SMU, and Army.
I just heard.
They would like all of those wins.
I just heard Mountain West, Mountain West, Mountain West, Mountain West. That's.
No, it's not. It's not. So, if you can't see the difference between what Boise State was playing against and that, I cannot help you. You might be beyond help if you don't understand the discrepancy there. Mm-hmm. Boise State had a year they went undefeated where they didn't beat a team that won more than 5 games. They all played in the same conference. Somebody has to win the games.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
I'm well aware. That's why I made it. Trust me, I was always against Boise State because they didn't play anybody. The AAC is the 6th best conference in America. If it's not, it's Sun Belt, and they're interchangeable. They're right there together. So,
and you don't think the gap's all that big?
Between the Sun Belt and the AAC?
No, between them and the
Big Ten? Hell no, I don't. No, I don't. I don't think the discrepancy between the Big Ten, the Big 12, the AAC, and the Sun Belt is that big of a difference. I don't.
And the Pac-12.
I don't. The Pac-12's relevant. The Pac-12's behind all of them. Hell, the Pac-12's 8th. The Pac-12 just looked at their championship game and went, one of the teams can't play. Screw it. Just put in another team.
Yep.
Doesn't matter.
Yep.
They're all the same.
Runner up.
They just wear a different colored helmet. That's it. That's the only difference.
Right.
Nobody will know the difference. Just don't say anything. Nobody would know. Be really honest with me. If the Pac-12 hadn't said anything and they just threw in Oregon instead of Washington, would you have even known they weren't supposed to be there?
Nope.
I've asked that question on every social media over the course of the last 2 days. I have yet to have somebody go, I would have known. Keyshawn Johnson would have known. That's it.
And he would be lying.
And he would be loud and angry.
Yeah. I mean, that's ridiculous to me. But you had to have a championship game. So you did what you had to do.
Did you have to?
Yeah.
Do you?
Of course you did.
Do you have to?
Of course you did.
Oregon that lost to Oregon State. Do we really need USC to beat them to know they're the best team in this conference?
I mean, you forget how much money's tied up in these championship games. Just because it doesn't matter on the national scale and whether or not you're getting into the college football playoff doesn't mean it doesn't matter. It means...
I'm talking about on a national scale. I don't give a damn about the money in the Pac-12. They didn't care, so why should I care?
Yeah.
You didn't care enough to figure this out and play more than 5 games, so why should I give a damn about your money?
Right.
I don't care. Sorry, Larry Scott, I could care less. You play your games at 10:30 at night out here, which already puts you at a disadvantage. Mm-hmm. And then you did everything in your power to say, well, you just don't really care that much. We're going to sit out here and surf and look at pretty girls and drink Mai Tais. Mm-hmm. So, piss off. I could really care less about USC. Frankly, they could have left USC out of this ranking. I would not have noticed it for an extended period of time.
Right.
B, I would not have cared when I did notice it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's because once you get past the top 10, there's no one really...
There's nobody in any of these conferences. That's been my point the whole time.
Right.
People, the ACC. Well, the ACC still has Clemson, Notre Dame, Miami, and North Carolina. And then you got there's like nebulous of Virginia Tech, Boston College, and a few other teams that are actually decent. Mm-hmm. The Big Ten gets very Wisconsin-y very quick, and very Rutgers, Maryland, hot sewer juice fast. You are right.
They do, but no one outside the top 10 has any chance.
Well, the question now is,
I'm not sure that Oklahoma doesn't have a chance.
Oklahoma has no chance.
Really?
No.
If they come out and they beat the sin
I don't
out
care
of
if they beat
State.
Iowa State 117-0. I don't care. Yeah, they'll get into a New Year's Six bowl.
Of course.
They're not getting in the playoff. You have 2 losses for one, and one of them was not pretty to a Kansas State team that forgot how to play football about a month ago.
Right. Well, that's true. Texas A&M's not playing this weekend, so they don't have a chance to lose.
No.
That's the thing.
Well, I mean, even then, all right, yeah, they would let A&M in. A&M can still be jumped. Do I think Iowa State could jump them? They'd have to beat Oklahoma to death. Mm-hmm. And I think they would have to beat Oklahoma by 20.
That's the only one I see is the Big 12 champion being able to jump into this thing somehow.
Which is
but
still gross.
with Texas A&M not playing and not going to lose another game, that goes out the window.
And it's still gross. It's all gross.
Of course
it's all
it's
gross,
gross.
and I hate it.
Of course it's gross. It's 2020.
It's all gross, and I hate it.
Right.
Anybody from outside the top 10 they can jump into in the year 6?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, there's 6 teams in a New Year's 6, so you're going to have teams. That was actually the next thing I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Is who could? What do you think the bowl matchups are going to be? Outside of these 6, do you really care? Like, is there another bowl game that you care about? You're really revved up for the Valero Alamo Bowl,
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
No. I mean, that's why.
or the Duke's Mayonnaise Bowl?
That's why we've seen, 13, 14 bowls now that have been canceled.
Been a lot. I like how the Frisco Bowl, SMU got the Rona, and they had already accepted a bid. They gave the bid to somebody else and then went, screw it. Let's just not play.
We're just not going to do
Yeah,
it.
we're just not going to do it. We can't have who we originally wanted, so we're going to take our bowl and go home.
Right. No, I mean, of course it is. Of course we're interested. What do you mean? Every football season, do you not sit down and watch meaningless bowl games?
I'm not the right person to ask this to.
He's a
You
gambler.
don't?
I am a gambler. I watch everything.
Well, that's
I was
my
willing
point.
to bet how many times a dog's tail would wag.
Yeah.
Not that long ago. But do I watch the games? No. I bet on them. I watch the score on my phone, and then I do other things.
Oh.
Like, things that matter.
Okay.
Like clean my gutters.
You haven't
Wash
cleaned
my
your
door.
gutters in 3 years.
That's
I've been to
bullshit.
your
I
house.
cleaned them not that long ago. It was just a few weeks ago.
You wash your mouth.
Yeah.
Them damn.
And you know what? That involved me getting on a ladder, so you best put some respect on my name.
you moved that.
Because I don't like ladders at all.
I'm glad you
I don't
finally.
like heights, I don't like squirrels, I don't like birds, and I don't like furry woodland creatures.
Which is weird because you had a forest growing in your gutters the last
Fact.
time I was at your house.
Fact.
It's like, oh, I hate furry woodland creatures, but here are homes for them on top of my home.
Yeah, here's the thing. If my gutters wanted to be cleaned up more, they wouldn't be so damn high. So, guess you should have thought about that when you built the house.
I'm not sure that's how that works.
Well, it does to me.
Well, yeah. You got that going for it.
Yeah, and you know what? The gutters are outside the house.
I'll.
Now, if a furry woodland critter gets in my house, he now owns my house.
All right, so note to self: I got to put Jeremy on the Jonah list. My nephew, who's a senior in high school, I made him get up on my roof at Thanksgiving
you
to
go. Out.
get to get my stuff out.
Yeah,
I'll send, no, I'm saying I'm gonna put him on your list. I'm gonna send him to your house next time he comes to town.
You could have a hitchhiker with a sling blade in his hand show up and go, "I'll clean your gutters out," and I'd go, "I'll pay you."
Okay.
I don't care. As long as it doesn't involve me getting up there, I could care less.
Now I'm just looking at a bowl projections list here, and no, of course not. It's all the same stuff. It's the famous Idaho Potato Bowl with Nevada and Tulane.
You know what? I want to do something this year for the bowl games.
Okay.
Because they virtually never play 2 bowl games at the same time. I want to watch all the bowl games whilst consuming the title sponsor's product.
There we go.
Ah, okay.
That's the thing I want to do.
How are you going to do the Bad Boy Mower Bowl?
I don't know. I'm going to pay that guy with a sling blade to mow my grass. I don't have any grass. You
You're
can mow my
going to have to
rocks.
find one of those?
Yeah, you can mow my driveway, which is gravel. Just aim it not at my house. Aim it at the neighbor's house. I don't like them.
Right. So we're having tater tots and scalloped potatoes for the Idaho Potato Bowl.
Ian, all the way. Let's do this.
The Boca Raton Bowl will be me in a bikini.
Oh.
Out. Yep, I'm out. My wife's from Florida, so
This
if
is how
anybody's
we do
getting
it.
a bikini, it ain't gonna be your fat ass. I can promise you that.
The RNL Carriers New Orleans Bowl. You would have to do that one in. You would watch that in the style of a trucker.
We could do some crawfish for that one.
No, it's got to be themed with the sponsor.
I'll find
That's
a
what
way.
he's talking about.
I'll find
So you
a
got to
way.
put on your trucker hat. You got to get you one of them massaging chairs to put in there.
Have one.
You got a CB. Can we
What
CB?
the hell do I have a CB?
Can we CB back and forth?
I drive a sports car. Do I look like a guy that would have a CB?
No.
So when I go hunting with my buddies, we can talk to each other? What the hell use would I have for a CB? Stare at it? Where do you plug this thing in at?
You drive a 2002 Lexus.
Oh, the 2002 Lexus.
First of all, it's not a 2002. Eat shit. How about that? And the one that said that truck looks like somebody shot it with a bunch of birdshot in the back end. So, he who is without sin shall cast the aspersions. How about that?
I will say this: I think my seats have more duct tape on them than a trucker's seat does. Though.
Fact.
So, I got that going for it. I could just listen to it on the radio.
I could see Tank.
If you had heated seats, it would burn your ass because there is a gap. Every time I have
come
stepped
on.
foot in your car, I have kissed the ground when I got out.
Come on, the burner went out on the seats years ago.
That thing had heated seats.
It had heated seats.
Did you have to light a pilot light for
It was
it?
top of the line, man. Top of the line for its
That
day.
thing was top of the
It
line
had-
when I was born.
It had, at one point, it had both heated seats actually worked. All four windows actually worked when you did the little thing. Now there's only three. Had four-wheel drive at one point. Doesn't
Not anymore.
It was funny.
He has the only four-wheel drive car I've ever seen that can't get up my driveway. My driveway's steep, but it's also paved.
Jeremy and I did the fun thing of looking at, because we were talking about, New Year comes, we're making some money. Maybe Tank could buy a new car, or, well, not a new car, but, get at least
newer.
something better than that piece of shit he's driving now. We looked up to see what the
I swear to God,
trade-in value was.
you could tow me behind a shopping cart, behind my car, and it would be better than the car you drive.
We looked up to see what the trade-in value on that car was. It's in a window of $700 and $170.
I've had bar tabs that are worth more than his car. Recently.
It was great. It was
Like
great.
not years ago, like
I'll
couple
buy
weeks
that thing
ago.
for $170.
I like this. Oh, here's one. Jeremy's going to have to watch the Cure Bowl while getting the vaccine.
out.
Oh,
I'm out. I've never had a flu shot. I'm not getting this damn vaccine. And when you all turn into zombies, me and Mamba will just sit around with my shotgun like, well, glad I bought a house in the woods.
And call up your favorite streetwalker for the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. I don't know what that is.
What?
But just say guaranteed rate bowl.
Guaranteed Rate
Still
Bowl.
stuck on the fact he said streetwalker. What are you, 80?
I am 80. I was trying to be nice.
Streetwalker.
Lady of the night.
You're right. I was trying to be
Lady of the
PC, It's just out there trying to make her money.
Joe Neff said you can buy his Maserati.
Oh.
Tank would fit in that like I fit in a bikini. He would have to butter his hips to get in that car.
More than likely.
Oh,
More than
Everyone
likely.
else would have to butter our head.
good Lord. That's a vision that just ruined butter for me forever.
So outside of the New Year's Six bowls, you're saying you don't care?
No. I do not care. Mm-hmm. There's just nothing there. I mean, what am I supposed to get excited about? They're talking about Florida State making a bowl game.
Oh, that's
Oh,
beautiful.
that's so bad. That can't happen.
Half these mediocre teams are just going to say, oh, we'll pass. You've already got 3 in the ACC that have said no.
And if they do accept nobody that's actually good is going to play, they're going to say, like, no, I'm not risking injury for this at all.
Right.
No, thank you.
Right. Especially in a year where you're not going to, there's no fans, there's no ticket sales,
Right.
there's
It's not
no.
like you can bring your family
Right.
to the game and blah, blah, blah.
Right, like-
You can play again next year,
Right. Like, well, I mean, if you ever talk to a college football player who's ever been to a bowl game, like, their biggest thrill of the bowl game is getting all the stuff.
Yeah.
Like, when they get there, they get these bags full of just shit.
Swag bag.
They get
Swag
swag
bags,
bags
swag.
that are filled with goodies galore.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that this year.
No.
You're going to get a coupon for the vaccine and a swift kick in the short hairs. That's what you get.
And a 90% discount MAGA hat.
Yeah, you darn right.
Ugh. Yeah, that aged poorly. Yeah. So, I mean, I just think the bowls are going to be a farce. You're going to have all the big money programs that play in a bowl to say they played in a bowl, just like Florida State. Mm-hmm. Florida State will be one that goes, yeah, we want to do that.
Our bowl streak is back.
Oh God!
No,
So
don't talk about the bowl streak. I'm still not ready to talk about it.
Oh, sorry.
That will lead to me saying very offensive things in a line.
I mean, no doubt to me, the most impactful championship game of this week is the Big Ten championship game. If Notre Dame could somehow beat Ohio State, it changes the ball game. It changes everything. Or Northwestern.
Who
did I say?
Notre Dame.
Oh, Jesus.
They don't play each other.
They don't play each other. Northwestern, excuse me. Northwestern is able to beat Ohio State. That changes the game for everything. Because I look at the other games and I go, so you just said Oklahoma's got no shot. Even if there was some miracle thing that they could do to beat Iowa State,
Well,
they're not
a miracle. They should beat Iowa State, and they're favored.
But I mean,
last I looked, by a great deal.
But I mean, the miracle would be them jumping.
That wouldn't be a miracle. No, that would be a travesty and a farce and laughably stupid.
So Oklahoma, Iowa State, they're playing for the New Year's Six Bowl. What is their tie-in for that?
Fiesta.
The Fiesta Bowl. Yeah. So whoever gets into the Fiesta Bowl. I mean, you got Louisiana and Coastal Carolina. There's no shot of that.
That will be a fun game. And if Coastal Carolina wins, let them in a New Year's Six Bowl.
Yeah.
I will start the campaign. Damn it! Don't let USC in one. Put Coastal Carolina in the Rose Bowl. Screw it. They're not going to do that.
No, they're not going to do that. USC against Coastal Carolina, though. Because the Big Ten champ will be in the football playoff.
Yeah, they'll let Northwestern into that garbage.
Probably so.
Hey, you want to know why I don't care? You have just outlined why I don't care. Oh, USC Northwestern in the Rose Bowl with no pageant of roses. Cool. So they're going to play a game in Pasadena at 6 o'clock on New Year's Eve, or New Year's Day, when I'm probably recovering from what can only be described as a copious hangover.
They won't be able to play
Cool.
in Pasadena. The Rose Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
The Rose Bowl.
Oh, God.
No, they plan to.
Huh?
They plan to.
No, they're going to open it up just for that.
They plan to still play.
Yeah,
in
because the
Bowl.
Rose Bowl makes some money, so we can open up Pasadena for that. San Francisco, who's not going to make the playoffs, sorry, you have to go play in Arizona.
They still plan to do that because the game is going to be after the 2-week quarantine or whatever it is over. Because there's only like a 2 or 3 week hiatus.
2020, where the rules are made up and nothing freaking matters.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
We haven't really talked about a lot, but
What
if Notre Dame beats Clemson and Clemson now has 2 losses?
If Notre Dame beats Clemson, you want to know what happens? Right here.
Right here.
Oh, goes crazy! And I kind of want it to happen, if I'm being honest.
Northwestern and Notre Dame.
Here's the thing. I want Trevor Lawrence to really be able to rest and get good and comfortable for when he gets to put this on. When he gets to wear one of these. One of these right here. There it is. Just need you to... We don't need you playing in a bowl game, Trevor. Just one more. Lose that one. Maybe find you a loft in Manhattan. If you need a realtor, I know a guy. Just get you comfortable with the big city.
You know, Drew Rosenhaus to sign you up and get you all the big dollars.
The ACC championship game, I mean, I guess.
If Clemson loses to Notre Dame, that's the one thing. And I'll be honest with you, I've thought about this a lot. That's the one thought we have not entertained.
No.
Like, we have immediately said Clemson's just going to beat the sin out of them. And we've not entertained, well, what happens if they don't? Let's say we're wrong. And Notre Dame somehow finds a way to beat them. Who's for? Now what? Now what do we do?
It's Oklahoma.
Or do they stay in
It's
there?
not Oklahoma. Stop with the Oklahoma shit. This is as stupid as when you were talking about the Minnesota Vikings making the playoffs.
Texas A&M?
I think it has to be Texas A&M. And then you get into this whole fun thing of, okay, do we put A&M against Alabama again? Because we saw this once.
Right.
And it didn't go particularly well.
Right.
Or do we put Clemson in there with 2 losses and have them play Alabama?
Clemson won't make it with 2 losses. They don't have enough good wins. I mean, you've got Miami, and that's
Unless Unless they lose, unless it's like a close
I
game.
don't care if they lose by 1 point on a field goal as the game ends. They don't get in. They will not let in a 2-loss team from the ACC who's not the conference champion over a 1-loss SEC team. They will not do it. We have seen this time and time again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the question is, do they then, like, let's say Iowa State beats Oklahoma. That's the answer. Iowa State will be the answer. They will leap Texas A&M, and that's who will get in. Not saying it's right, just saying that's what would happen.
Championship, right?
Because they have the conference title, which is supposed to play a factor,
right, for
better or worse,
right.
So I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's what would happen.
Chaos.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
I don't know. I think. I think that would be a really hard discussion. Is we believe Clemson is one of the 4 best teams in the country. They have 2 losses, sure, but now they've lost to the same number.
They
of
lose.
teams.
They lose to Notre Dame twice. They're out. Period.
Okay.
And trust me, Dabo's told them that all week long.
Of course they have. See, I'm not entertaining it because they have something this time that they didn't have before. And it's Trevor
What is
Lawrence.
that? My beautiful, soon-to-be blonde-haired quarterback? Is that
right?
You talking about a wispy-haired 6'6" quarterback that's going to look real good in green and white just a few months from now.
And all the billboards all over New York.
It's starting to make me uncomfortable.
The love?
It's only going to get worse.
Yeah, seriously. It's going to be...
God, I thought Sam Darnold was bad.
insufferable.
I thought the Sam Darnold thing was bad when the Jets drafted Sam Darnold and this guy was over here talking, oh my God, we just got the second Joe Montana. And now, now they're going to get...
They're going to get a first-round pick for Sam Darnold.
He's going to be insufferable.
They're going to have a plethora of first-round picks. Trade Sam Darnold.
You ain't lying.
Take another first-round that they got. Move up. Get the Sewell kid from move up to 3 and get Sewell as well.
Well, they're not doing that.
That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, oh God, it's going to be so good.
Oh my God!
Can't wait for there to be a Trevor Lawrence jersey just hanging right there back behind my head.
But that's exactly. That's exactly why nobody's thinking that Clemson's not going to win this game. I mean, yes, they lost to him before, but they didn't have the best quarterback in college football
history.
I think he's not in history.
College football
He's
history.
not the best quarterback in college football history.
Ever. He's the best. You know what? You're right. He's not the best quarterback in college football history. He's the best quarterback in human history.
This guy.
I love you, Trevor, and I can't wait
my
for us to be
God.
best friends and do karate in the garage.
He is no Kurt
Happening.
Warner. He's no Kurt Warner. You stop that.
I want to know why you chose a guy that not only didn't play for your teams, but had absolutely no effect on your life whatsoever.
Because I can. Exactly. Tim Tebow, he's on it. Tim Tebow. True or
They do
false?
this just to
True or
irritate
false? Tim Tebow is a better college quarterback than Trevor Lawrence.
False.
True. It's
False.
true.
It's false.
His stats are better. He's got Heisman trophies. He's got national he's got national championships.
Yeah, and he lasted in the NFL for about long enough for Tank to
matter.
eat a sandwich.
Don't matter. NFL doesn't count when we're talking college history.
Tim Tebow might work in today's NFL.
No, he wouldn't.
No, he wouldn't.
He wouldn't.
Stop that.
You know who does work in today's NFL?
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, here you go.
I'm not going to stop. I mean, I'll sit here and wax poetic for the next
God.
23 minutes about Trevor Lawrence if you want me to.
Good God.
I can write a haiku off the top of my head if it makes me feel
But
good.
that's exactly why we're discounting Notre Dame right offhand. There's no way, in my opinion, that they can keep
I've
up.
seen some crazier things happen.
What, the Notre Dame beating Clemson?
What was the crazier thing?
I've seen some crazier.
Boise State beating Oklahoma on the Statue of Liberty.
That
play.
wasn't crazier. This happens every year. Same reason Central Florida beat Auburn. Because they don't care. They wanted to get into the playoff. They're the first team out, and they're in a bowl they didn't want to play in.
Texas beating.
And they get beat. By the way, I'm glad you said Texas. I heard something that I want to talk about. This was on Paul Feinbaum's show yesterday.
Okay.
It was one of the reporters. It was a South Carolina reporter. He's a Clemson beat writer. Have you heard this story about Tom Herman?
No.
Oh,
Tom Herman called Ray Tanner and asked for the South Carolina job.
whoa. Whoa.
I want you to think about what I just said. The sitting head coach at Texas called the athletic director at South Carolina and said, please give me that job. Please give me that
He
job.
wants out of Texas so bad.
No, I don't think he wants out of Texas. I think he's trying to get out while the getting is good. Because he knows the pitchforks and the torches are coming next year.
Well,
Right.
and that's what I mean. Like, he doesn't. He's
It's a job security, self-preservation thing. Because he's not long for this world.
no.
Texas
No.
can't continue to be mediocre and him survive. Because he was the guy that was supposed to come in and take over the
Right,
program.
right.
And I remember I think we were talking about this 2 years ago. And I said, I don't think Tom Herman's the guy. And Jeremy, you told me I was crazy. But it's come to fruition.
They just
Like
don't
he
get
has
the
not
recruits like
he's not
they
turned
don't.
Texas into the world beater that they wanted him to be.
People are going to TCU. People are going to Baylor.
Well, that's
Well,
what
they don't
that's
have
the
to.
reason that the Heat's so strong on him. Mm-hmm. Is because TCU's recruiting at a high level. Texas A&M is dragging them down the sidewalk.
Right.
Yep.
And it's I couldn't tell you what the problem is at Texas. I don't know. They have more money than
Yeah, seriously.
Anybody.
yeah,
Except for Texas A&M.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They have more money than Texas A&M. Texas A&M has one booster, one.
Texas has a
Really?
network.
That's all they have.
They have the Longhorns.
They were-
Texas
they-
has it was T. Boone Pickens who just died at Oklahoma State, and Texas A&M has I can't remember what his name is. I'll think of it in a minute. But yeah, they have a ton of money, and most of it comes from one guy.
Okay.
Maybe we should call him to sponsor us.
There was there was a time. You're right. According to what I just pulled up here, yeah, they're well ahead of Ohio State.
Texas has the most money in college football. It's not close. The problem is that they don't spend it well, and currently they're getting destroyed in recruiting because if you're a defensive player in the Big 12, why would you want to go there? Why? If you're going to go there, go to Oklahoma, where you at least have a shot to win a national title. Every other program, why would you want to play defense in the Big 12? You're going to get denigrated. I can literally show you my draft reports for the last 10 years of guys getting knocked because they played in the Big 12. Joseph Asai, a pass rusher for Texas right now. This is a guy on talent alone. Should be a first-round pick. He's going to be picked in the second round because he played at Texas and he got hidden. And the everything around him was so bad that he looked bad at times. He takes one halfway poor angle and he looks he looks completely out of sorts. So that's one of the problems at Texas. The other one is that you got Texas A&M, TCU, hell, Texas Tech gets guys. I mean, they get that periphery guy that Texas doesn't want. But you just have so many options in Texas now that I have long said Texas is the most overrated job in college sports. And it's not even close.
Well,
Because their expectations are insane
Yeah.
because they spend so much money.
Well, and I heard the other day that for as much money as they have, their facilities aren't like that
They're not
big.
high. They're.
It's not.
I mean, they got good stuff, but
They don't have like
They don't have what LSU
locker
has.
rooms and
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's like these guys are going there and they're like, oh, we're playing in practicing in this little bubble dome thing. And it's like, look at
LSU,
the-
you get your own bed in the locker room,
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So
which is pretty sweet if I do say so myself.
It actually doesn't surprise me all that much to see that Tom Herman's looking to make a
But
clean
South
exit.
Carolina. I mean, but
South
Carolina.
South Carolina's a place that you can go and be mediocre and be fine.
No, you can't.
Oh,
No, you can't. No, you can't.
gotta be
Okay.
No, you can't. Not anymore. Not since Steve Spurrier. Will Muschamp's been mediocre, and he got run out of town, and they paid him to get the hell out. No,
he's been awful.
You are so wrong about South Carolina. You cannot be mediocre in Columbia. They will run. Shane Beamer, perfect example. They're so happy about him because he's a South Carolina guy, and he's our guy. Guess what? If he goes 6-6 next year, they'll start talking. I promise you. I dated a booster at South Carolina.
Yeah.
Trust me.
That's-
I know what I'm talking about.
But
South Carolina has the most the most excised expectations of any school in the country because of one run with Steve Spurrier.
I disagree.
Okay, who is it?
Tennessee.
Disagree. Tennessee can be that good. South Carolina can't. South Carolina doesn't have the revenue. They don't have the budget. They don't have the facilities. They don't have anything. But they think that, by the way, they think they're better than Tennessee. Just let that be known. Like I said, I dated a booster for quite some time. I know South Carolina like the back of my hand. They have some of those people, like, you think there's a gas leak in that stadium or something. Because, like, you can't possibly believe that.
Yeah.
South Carolina's biggest boosters think they're the right coaching hire away from being Florida
And they still think that it can hang with
or A&M. They can't. They think they're better than A&M. A lot of them think it's a better job than A&M.
I don't agree with that. I think
I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm telling you that's what they think.
If you can lose, I'm sure that's probably what some of them think. But if you can, you're 6 and 6 is not mediocre.
Be very wary of what you're getting ready to say because I'm going to kill it. If you're getting ready to say what I think you are, I'm going to crush it.
6 and 6 is not mediocre to me. 6 and 6 to me is
100%
bad.
mediocre.
6 and 6 is bad. If
6 and 6 is the definition of mediocre. It still makes a bowl game. All right, let me ask you a fun question.
Mediocre expectations for a team that wants to vie in the SEC is 3 to 4 losses a year. That's mediocre to me.
Okay, well, you're wrong.
Well,
Mediocre, literally, the definition of average is winning as many as you lose. Mm-hmm. That's average. So 6 wins,
but
6 losses
bad. That's my point.
Mediocre. It's not bad, especially not bad in the SEC. My point is, you said you can be mediocre at South Carolina. Yeah. All right, let's play a fun game. How many times did Will Muschamp not win 6 games at South Carolina?
Not win 6 games?
He was there for 5 years.
4.
Once. It was one damn time. He missed a bowl game one time because they were 6 and 7, or they were. It was last year. They were 4 and 8. Mm-hmm. That's the one time he missed a bowl game, and they could not wait to get rid of him. Mm-hmm. They almost fired him last year.
How many games did he win this year?
He was 2 and 5.
Yeah, that's my point.
Okay,
bad.
He's also coming off 2 years removed from 7 and 6, 3 years removed from 9 and 4 at South Carolina. And if you said they could be mediocre, no, they can't, and they just proved it.
If he continued to be, that's not mediocre. That's bad. 4 and 8
1 year. It's 1 year. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
It's been 2
years
in a row, though. That's the point.
And he didn't even make it through the full year.
Of course.
That's what I'm. You're not listening to what I'm saying.
No,
you're
I'm
just
listening to what you're
talking
saying
and assuming what I'm trying to say. You're talking about what they are. I'm talking about what they think they are. They think they're a 10-win team. So you go. I'll be honest with you. That 9 and 4 team, they were disappointed. Mm-hmm. I was real close to it at that time. They were disappointed and thought they were better than that. Then they went 7 and 6. He started recruiting pretty well. He was actually bringing in high-end South Carolina talent. They went 4 and 8. They damn near fired him last year. If it hadn't been for the buyout, they would have fired him last year. Mm-hmm. What I'm trying to tell you is that this is a program that thinks they should win 8, 9, 10 games. It is a god-awful job. And Tom Herman just called to get away from Texas to go there. Mm-hmm. That's how pitchfork and lit torch that place is.
Tom Herman, if he can pull out, like you said, 8, 9 wins a year, he'll be there forever.
Let me ask you another question, just since you seem to be super off base about South Carolina. Steve Spurrier had 3 10-plus win seasons at South Carolina in his last 5. Mm-hmm. How many did they have before that? With Spurrier, how many times did he win 10 games before that?
None.
It was 0. Mm-hmm. You know how long it had been since they'd won 10 games? It was 1984. Yeah, you were allowed to be mediocre at South Carolina. Then they hired Steve Spurrier, and now it's all different. That's what I'm trying to tell you, and you're not listening to me. Will Muschamp never had a snowball's chance in the hell. And the reason they took this job is because he was a name, and this was the only job he could get. Because he had been at Auburn, and he took this job and went, this is my shot to get back in the SEC. No, it's not. Because you can't win at the level they expect you to. This is a trap job. Forever and for always, this is a trap job. Because you cannot win at the level that they think you should.
I'm trying to square in my head how you feel Tennessee and South Carolina are so different.
They are 100% different. The money is grossly different.
Well, I get you. The money is grossly different, but the outcome has not been grossly different.
Okay, you're talking about wins and losses.
Yeah.
They haven't hired the right coach in a decade, but they've gotten candidates. I want you to understand, South Carolina went after Tom Herman. He told them to piss down road, which is the reason that Ray Tanner had no interest in talking to him now. Tom Herman would have taken the Tennessee job had he not been offered the Texas job. 100%, no doubt. Right now, all right, here's how they're different. I'll put this in terms that you can understand. Hugh Freeze, let's say Hugh Freeze said he wants an SEC job. South Carolina offers him, Tennessee offers him. Which job's he taking?
Tennessee.
And he didn't think about it twice. That's how they're so different. That's the difference. You can recruit a top 15 class to Tennessee. You cannot do that at South Carolina because you're the little stepchild of the poor to Clemson. You don't have that at Tennessee. That's how this shit works. Tennessee has a top 10 recruiting class right now with a coach that might be fired in an hour. South Carolina, would you like to take a guess where they are?
Oh, God.
I don't even know the number off the top of my head because half the class decommitted when Will Muschamp got fired.
Probably
They were in the 50s the last time I looked.
Yeah.
And they were barely on the outskirts of the 30s before he got fired. That's the difference. That's the part that we've argued about this now. This is the second argument we've had like this in 3 days.
Yep.
And it's real simple because you take you look at the end result and that's it. That's it.
Yep.
All right. Let me prove that one to you. Tom Herman gets fired right now. Let's say they change their mind and go, oh, he called South Carolina, the hell with him, and they run him out of town. Who do they hire? Who do they hire?
At Texas? I don't know.
I don't need a name. What quality of candidate do they hire?
No, they're going after the top dog.
Whoever they want. That's who they hire. But the results have been bad. Based on your argument, Tennessee and Texas are the same job.
No.
The results are the same. Win-loss record's damn near identical for the last 5 years.
Tennessee and Texas?
Yep.
Really?
Texas hasn't won double-digit games but one time under Tom Herman. And they had to win the bowl game to do that. Tennessee's been routinely mediocre. 6-6, 7-5, on and on and on. Texas has been relevant in the Big 12. They haven't played in a Big 12. I can't remember the stat on this. They haven't played in a Big 12 title game in like I want to say it's in a decade. I think Mac Brown was the coach the last time they played in one. So under your scenario, Tennessee and Texas are the same job. No, they're not. No, they're not. Because if you hire the right coach at either one of those, they can be a power again. South Carolina can't. South Carolina could hire they could hire Nick. Well, I'm not going to say Nick Saban. I think Nick Saban could get hired at Akron and find some way to win.
Right.
Name me a tier lower than that. Name me a real good coach. Matt Campbell. Let's say Matt Campbell at Iowa State had taken the South Carolina job. He'd been fired in 5 years. And I think he's one of the best coaches in the country. He'd have been fired in no time. Because it's a death job. You can't recruit there. You don't have a hotbed of recruits. It's not like South Carolina puts out 50 ESPN 300 guys a year.
Yeah.
They just don't.
Right.
Like, if you can't get them, and guess where they go? Every one of them. Look at the state rankings in the state of South Carolina for the last 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
I think South Carolina's gotten like 8 in a decade that were in the top 10. That's why that's a death
I
job.
think Jadeveon Clowney was the last one.
He was the last high-end one.
That's what
it
I'm
was
saying.
him and not Marshawn Lattimore, Marcus Lattimore. That was the last 2 high-end South Carolina recruits they got. And guess what? That was under Spurrier. And that's the reason. There are just jobs. The point of this whole conversation has been there are jobs like that are excised. There are very few jobs that I could have heard Tom Herman called about that I would have more gone, what? Like, it's that bad that the Texas coach, do you understand the level of insanity that would have been if Tom Herman had stepped down to Texas to take the South Carolina job? The people at Texas would have set fires just out of sheer confusion. We're Texas. We don't get left for South Carolina. I'm not saying we wanted you, but just like you're dating a girl. You don't really want to date a girl anymore, but you haven't gotten up the nerve to end it. And then she cheats on you with some slack-jawed hillbilly from down the street. Do you not go, what? At some point you look at yourself and go, what the hell just happened? It's not about you.
Right.
You didn't want to be with her anyway. That's how Texas is with Tom Herman right now.
Okay.
They don't want him, but it's still bizarre that he called South Carolina and said, you interested?
I don't know. It's that different. He's just looking for a way out before he gets fired. And I don't, when you know you're at the big time and you're not performing and your boss is pissed off, sure, you're gonna start looking for other options before you can get that black mark on your record.
And I don't dispute that. But my point is, it's so bad, he looked to a job that he cannot possibly succeed at. It would be one thing if I'll go a step further. It'd be one thing if he'd called Illinois. Illinois has no expectations whatsoever. None. Lovie Smith won like 5 conference games in 5 years. Stuck around forever. South Carolina, you'll get fired in 3. I'm telling you right now, Shane Beamer's 4-8 3 years from now, he will be fired. And they love him right now.
Yes.
He wants to be at South Carolina. This is his dream job. They think he is Steve Spurrier Jr. If he goes 4-8 more than one time, he's out the door.
Absolutely.
I don't care how you recruit. I don't care about any of that.
Absolutely. I don't disagree. You flip that around, though, he goes 8-4, he'll have that job forever.
Disagree. Will Muschamp went 9-3
One time.
2 years ago.
One time.
I don't disagree. You said he goes 8-4, he'll have that job forever. That's bullshit because we just had a coach do that and he got fired a year.
I mean,
Literally
doing it
could have been
every
fired
year.
a year later.
You have
Well, he's
to
not,
do it
but that's the
every
point.
year.
He's not going 8-4 every year. That's the whole point. You could hire Newt Rockney to take this team over. He ain't going 8-4 every year.
If your low water mark at South Carolina is 7-6,
They'll
you'll be
fire
fine.
you in 3 years.
Disagree.
I'm telling you right now, you're arguing with me about something that I am super freaking close to. Will Muschamp, I'm serious as a heart attack. The 9-win year, there were boosters that were still mad. At 9 wins at South Carolina. So the team that had 3 10-win seasons, or 11-win seasons, with Steve Spurrier in a row, hadn't had one since before I was born. And they were mad that with Spurrier's recruits, he could only go 9-4. You're taking the job for what it should be. I'm telling you what it is.
And then he followed it up with 6 wins in 2 years. That's what got him fired. If he had gone 9-4 the next year,
And you're
He
not
would
listening
keep
to
the
what you're
job.
saying.
I
You're
am.
not listening to what you're saying.
I-
He won. You said if Shane Beamer goes 8-4, he has the job forever. You're not going to do that year in, year out. Will Muschamp won 9 games, and halfway through the next year, they wanted to fire him. The boosters were literally willing to raise money to fire him halfway through the next year. It's one of the worst jobs in this sport. He won 9 games in South Carolina, and they wanted to fire him before the next calendar year was over.
Chris Edenfield said they could wait another month or 2 and hire Adam Case.
yeah, yeah.
In.
There you go.
Hire Adam Gase.
There you
It's a
go.
great call. He'd be a great offensive coordinator at South Carolina.
Offensive coordinator.
Well, they already have a head coach, so they don't need one of those.
Right. Good Lord. All right, the NFL, we've got coronavirus news as Henry Ruggs has now been placed on the COVID list. And so he's going to miss tomorrow night's Thursday night football game. Also, the NFL has sent out a memo to all the teams saying there will not be any playoff bubbles. So the whole idea of, creating an NBA-like lockdown scenario, it's not going to happen. And what they're going to do is the only thing they're requiring is that all of the teams be there to spend the night in a hotel the night before the game. So you got to travel the day before. It's not going to be any of this, you get a close geographical game or something, you're not going to be able to show up the day of the game. You're going to have to travel the day before the game. But they're not going to do any bubbles in the NFL, and I don't foresee that causing any problems. We've been living with this second wave now for a little while, and it's been fine. We've had the bumps in the road, but we press forward. They've also changed the rule now that if you have a scenario like the Baltimore Ravens had with Des Bryant the other night, and he tests positive after warm-ups, or you find out he's positive after warm-ups, they're going to allow you to activate another player. So you can deactivate him, activate another player within 30 minutes of kickoff.
Well, that's an interesting idea. Hey, you weren't supposed to play tonight, but you're up.
Yeah. Go get your pads on, bud.
Won't get hurt at all.
Oh, God. We're at T-minus 15 days till this year's over. It is 2 weeks from Tamari. I cannot wait. Can't wait. I can't wait for this to just all be over.
I still love the fact that you think this is going to be over.
It'll be over by next football season.
Of course.
It will be over by next football season, which is the next. The NBA. You know what? We figured out a way to do that. I'm watching high school players wearing masks while they're playing.
Yep.
Like I'm tired of the arguing. I'm tired of all these makeshift scientists that. I'm going to get myself in trouble. For
It's not going
to.
It's not just gonna magically end, but we will all feel a little bit better with a different number on the end of the year. Absolutely. The owners in the NFL are having a virtual meeting today to talk about a 17th game in the 17th regular season game. The new CBA that they just agreed to has a 3-year window between 2021 and 2023 that they can institute the 17th regular season game. We'll talk about the implications of that coming up this afternoon on ESPN Asheville, the Sports Tank with Jeremy Green, heard weekdays 3 to 5 on ESPN Asheville on the iHeartRadio app. This is the Sportsocracy. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us throughout the day today. Sorry about the late start time, but Mother Nature decided Tank's piece of shit car can't drive. And
it was a little, slickery. I almost busted my ass on my own porch.
Nice.
So it was a little slickery outside.
Nice. Be sure to hit that notifications button so you know whenever we go live, should there be weather delays in the future, which I can guarantee you there will be throughout this Christmas season. That's not the word I was looking for, but
winter season.
The winter season. Thank you. But Christmas season as well. Merry Christmas to everybody, by the way. I haven't said that to you yet on the program. Follow, share, and like the Sportsocracy on all of the social medias. We'll be live right here from the Wicked Weed Studios once again tomorrow. WickedWeedBrewing.com. Don't forget to check them out. Drink different. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Green.
Yep.
We'll see you on the radio side this afternoon.